Yo, how's it going everybody? It's me, Arctic. Today's video I'm going to be talking about team comps for Yelan. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about several of the characters that I think are going to work the best with Yelan, and some of the team comps that I think are going to be the best and the most fun. So we are going to be using Kujo Sara as our stand-in for Yelan. So this first team comp structure is going to be a Vaporize team comp. Basically what you're going to end up doing is running like a character like Hu Tao or some other pyro DPS. And then of course you have Yelan in this team comp as well, basically acting as the sub DPS in this team. But this also can work if you are planning on running Yelan as a main DPS, and the reason behind that is because you're going to be using this third slot either for pyro application. Now you can't actually swap like a pyro character out for an animo character like Kazuha, and what that's going to actually do is you're going to be trying to swirl pyro because you're basically going to have plenty of hydro application with Yelan's kit. So you're trying to get as much pyro application as you can to basically boost up your damage. And then I would recommend running Bennett as the slot right here just because all around damage booster. But characters like Jean can also work right here. The thing about Jean's burst also is that she actually removes all element applications and can kind of make it easier to set up certain elemental reactions. I don't think it necessarily works too well with like Vaporize. So that's something to keep in mind. But let's just say if you are running into issues where you have too much like hydro application, you're not getting like vaporizes with your Yelan like you're trying to go for, well, I think Jean would actually be a pretty good choice for that. But alternatively, if you're trying to keep hydro application on enemies, if you're going for like Hu Tao main DPS with Yelan's kind of like supporting, I would not actually recommend it going with Jean. Comp right here is actually going to be an electrocharge team comp. Basically what you're going to end up doing is you're going to be running Yelan as your pseudo main DPS while you have your Raiden Shogun on cooldown, because if you do have Raiden Shogun, yeah, this is going to work very well for this team comp. Alternatively, if you don't have Raiden Shogun, you can use like Official as a stand-in pretty much, and that works pretty good. And what I would actually recommend is if you just want to run like Official, you can actually run like a Tartaglia, and you can basically swap in Tartaglia. And what that's going to allow you to do is you're going to have like Tartaglia as your main DPS pretty much, doing his damage and whatnots, and then you're going to swap over to Yelan every like 5 or so seconds-ish, or however long you want to actually switch to her, and use her special charge attack and abilities, that kind of stuff. While you still have Fischl constantly applying Electro, because that's basically what Fischl's best job is, constantly applying Electro. And then Jean actually does work in this team comp because she is actually going to be unapplying, she's going to be unapplying the Hydro element. What allow you to do is actually be doing reactions with your Fischl, so each time a Fischl is going to be triggering the reaction, you are using a stringless on your Fischl, because that Elemental Master is going to boost up that sub DPS or Electrocharge damage by quite a bit. So Electrocharge team comp I think with Yelan is going to be pretty good. Before we move on, I want to mention quickly that the Dendro element might actually be very well with Yelan, so definitely keep that in mind, because there are definitely some rumors going around that the Hydro and Dendro reaction is going to focus around HP, something another on that line, so definitely keep an eye out for that, especially since Yelan is actually going to be releasing before we actually get some Dendro information. Pulling for Yelan might actually be a pretty good idea just for that reason. This next team comp is actually a Permafreeze team comp. Basically what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to run a Cryo DPS, either Ganyu or a Yaka pretty much. And then you're going to want to run a Cryo support. You can use like Shenhe for this. Shenhe works very nicely on this because she's going to boost out your main DPS's like DPS, you know. But then for the healer slot, I would actually recommend running Xingqiu. And now Xingqiu and Yelan actually do function quite similarly in their roles as a sub DPS, but since Xingqiu actually can heal your teammates, he's actually going to slot in pretty well right here, plus he just gives you some more like sub DPS, works very nicely. Alternatively, you could run like a cryo healer also, and I think that would actually be a pretty good option there as well. In terms of the other characters that I think are going to stand out in terms of their compatibility with Yelan, Yaimiko probably will, just because she's a good Electro sub DPS, and sub DPSs actually do have quite good synergy with each other. And Shogun kind of in that similar sense, except she's more of a main DPS in terms of her like actual like Electrocharge team comp role. Kazuha is going to be really nice with Yelan because you can actually swirl Hydro and actually end up boosting out your damage by a whole bunch. So Kazuha, as always, is very good. Kamisato Ayato is also going to be very nice because you're pretty much going to be replacing a Xingqiu with your Yelan, plus Yelan also actually boosts out your on-field character's damage by a whole bunch, so that's going to be very nice paired up with a Yaka. Tao is going to be very nice because You're basically going to be able to trigger tons of reactions, and then you're also going to be able to keep up your like damage potential with Yelan because she does have that special charge attack, so it's going to work very, very nicely on there. Yeah, I think will be a good pair up with Yelan just because ad grouping is very nice. He can basically suck all the enemies into one cluster, and then your sub DPS is going to hit more of them, and also her charge attack is going to be able to hit more of them. So, very good character. Really, you can kind of make any character or team comp work just because she's a sub DPS, and sub DPSs are usually great with just about anything you put them with. But yeah, anyway, that's about it for the video. Let me know if you guys enjoyed it down in the comment section below. These kind of are hard videos to make just because it's like so subject, and with how the game actually balances, like you can use basically whatever characters you want. But hopefully I helped you guys out a bit. But anyway, it's been me, Arctic. We'll see you guys in the next one. Farewell.